This is my video documentation for the skill building workshop I did at the ITLL. I really like the ITLL. It's something that I want to get into more. The semester's been a little bit busy, so I loved this as a great excuse to sort of force me to get in there. I'm hoping this spring semester things will be a little bit quieter for myself, and I'll be able to focus on some of the more interesting and niche workshops that they offer, as it's a really cool building. I definitely um, enjoyed what I did, even though I picked a pretty simple and straightforward workshop to go for, especially because I'm in form. I wanted to pick one that I knew I could utilize, if not this semester, then definitely next semester. Before I got into anything that was sort of too off the deep end, I wanted to test the waters a little bit more, as this physical fabrication is still very new to me. Other than this class, I've never done anything like this. But it's something that I find really fascinating and interesting. So I definitely wanted to sort of stretch my muscles a little bit more. So for this assignment, I chose to go with the um, laser cutting workshop that they offer at the ITLL. Luckily for me, even the ITLL just got two relatively new laser cutters in the basement with larger beds, in addition to the smaller ones they have upstairs. They're very similar to the machine that is inside the BTU, and this workshop really appealed to me because a lot of times during the semester, for both this class and as I'm in object with a number of enclosures made in that class, there were a lot of times where I was stuck making progress on a project because I had to wait until somebody else was available to help me run the laser printer. There were a bunch of times I've bothered Perry far too many times, getting him to help me out in just sort of being there and gaining access to the laser cutter and the BTU. This seemed like a great way to be able to laser cut things on my own time. As I definitely still want to get BTU trained, as I think that's a building I'd rather use, as it's just a little bit closer to everything else. It seemed like a great stepping stone and little training ground to take the assignment, take the workshop at the ITLL and get some training. So it was a pretty fast and straightforward workshop. Started out with getting used to their program of choice, which is CorelDRAW and not Rhino. But very user-friendly, very intuitive, very similar to Rhino, Illustrator, a lot of these programs that I've worked in the past. And the whole sort of workshop was getting an image online and then prepping it to be laser cut on their larger printers in the basement. So I chose to do the Buff logo. The piece of material we were given was acrylic and not wood, even though wood is sort of why I was interested in laser cutting. I'm a big fan of the wood aesthetic, and laser cutters provide a really great tool to do more detailed woodworking without very complex tools or carpentry skills, which I am lacking. So, but acrylic is also really neat, and that was their provided material. Once I got the Buff logo, it was just mapping out which areas I wanted to be etched and which I'd wanted to be not etched. I didn't choose to cut this piece out. As I've done a lot of cutting, I wanted to do a etch piece. This provided an opportunity, again, to get away from the standard speed and power settings and do something a little bit more interesting. Helpfully, at the ITLL, they have a big chart broken down with every material, what recommend different either raster etch, vector etch, or a full cut with every material, every common material thickness, and then their corresponding speed and power. To achieve that sort of goal is a great little cheat sheet, so you don't have to memorize everything. And I think it turned out quite well. So I got the Buff logo etched in. It looks pretty good. This was the little square that they gave us, and I think it actually, I've done etching on the wood before for a couple of my projects that looked kind of okay, the acrylic actually shows it off extremely well. So it was really interesting to be able to get in there. Um, yeah, that's what I learned at the ITLO.